Hey everybody, this is Jim the Tabletop Engineer. Welcome back to a new video. I'm playing Arkham Horror, the card game. I'm playing this scenario called Night of the Zealot. And if you haven't watched the two previous videos, you definitely want to probably go watch those because this won't make sense to you. My investigators are currently in the cellar. I should have put that below the hallway, but that's all right. They're in the cellar, and in the last video, they both drew enemies. So this is bad. So it is now the, that was the Mythos phase. It is now the investigator phase. Now, because they have enemies engaged, they really can't do anything else, because if they try to investigate or something, they're going to get an opportunity attack from the enemy. So Mark is going to go first. It says the first time you perform one of the following: move, fight, or evade, it costs 2 actions. So let me reset his actions, and let me reset hers. And Mark is going to have to spend 2 actions to fight the ghoul minion. All right? He's going to fight it. He's going to spend a bullet, which does not give him a bonus to the fight, but it does add 1 damage. The ghoul minion only has health of 2. So if Mark hits him, it will kill him. So his fight is 5 versus the fight of 2 of the ghoul minion. 5 versus 2. And I drew a -1. So that is 4 versus 2 with 2 damage. The ghoul minion is destroyed. Now, Mark wants to protect Daisy from the flesh eater. So Mark will spend his this is a free, it's just 1 action. He'll spend his last action to engage the flesh eater to take it away from Daisy. And his turn is done. Now, that's not good. And by the way, the Flesh Eater has a victory of 1, so if I can kill it, I'll get a bonus XP. But unfortunately, the Flesh Eater is going to attack Mark on the next turn and do 1 damage and 2 sanity. Whew. All right, let's keep going. It is Daisy's turn. Mark is done. You know what? I forgot. At the end of the turn, test 3 will. I forgot to do that. So let me see if that goes away. Hold on. 3 will, and he has no will. So 3 versus 3. On the last turn, could he have gotten rid of it? 3 plus 1 is 4. He would have gotten rid of it. Sorry, I'm going to retro that, which means he's got 1 bonus action. He didn't have to use 2 to fight. He used 1 to engage it, 1 to fight it, and now he'll fight it again. Hold on. No, his first action was to fight the ghoul minion. He killed it. Then his second action was he engaged the flesh eater, and he'll spend his third action to shoot it. So he'll shoot. The ghoul minion has a fight of 4. Mark is 5. I'm gonna use this 5s. I don't know. That'll make it 9 versus 4. If I auto fail, but it says move 1 damage from Mark. Mark has taken no damage, so I'm not going to use that card. So we're going to do a 5 versus 4. I got his Elder Sign, which is +1 for each damage. He's taken no damage, but 5 does beat 4, which puts 2 damage, because remember, I used a bullet. So it puts 2 out of the 4 health on the Flesh Eater. So he's half his health now, and Mark's turn is done. All right. Daisy. Let's put this back in. And Daisy, she wants that last clue. So she will do a investigate. The grimoire is done, by the way. So it goes away. After I used it all up, it goes into the discard. She's got play preposterous sketches, which lets her draw 3. Let me see if I can do that. Because I want to build up her hand. I'll pay the 2 for her first action. Pay the 2. And I get to draw 3 cards. 1, 2, 3. Oop, 3. All right. Resources, Arcane Enlightenment. Your maximum hand size is increased by 1. You have 1 additional hand slot, which can only be used for a tome. So this would have been good early in the game. She could have had 3 tomes out instead of 2. But these aren't going to really help me right now. Neither is the emergency cash. Because I don't want to spend any more turns. I don't have a tome out either, so she's not going to get a free action. I was hoping to get a tome and give her a free action. So she hasn't taken any damage, so she hasn't had to use hypochondria. It does take 2 actions to discard it. I need that. I need that. So let's have her investigate. She'll do a 5 versus 4. She has nothing that will help her. 5 versus 4. 5 minus 2 is 3. She fails. So for her, that was her second action because she played for 5. For her third and final action, she'll try it again. 5 versus 4. I did it. 0 is a modifier, so she gets the last clue. So I get these as victory conditions. I'll turn them sideways to remind me. Anything sideways at the end of the game, I try to remember. All right, she gets rid of that. She didn't have to do that. And she still has hypochondria, so she is done. It's the enemy phase. Okay, the Flesh Eater attacks Mark. It does 1 damage, so he loses a damage. And he loses 2 sanity, so he's down to 2 sanity, and that's it. If the Flesh Eater hits him one more time on the next attack, it's going to reduce him to 0 sanity, and he will be out of the game, or at least out of this particular scenario. He'll come back with 1 fewer sanity in the next scenario. All right, so the Flesh Eater attacked. That was the enemy phase. Now the upkeep phase. Flip these over. They each get 1 resource. 1 and 1. And they draw a card. Daisy draws 2. She got Magnifying Glass, and she got Lab Assistant. Your maximum hand size increased by 2. After it enters play, draw 2 cards. That's a good one. She's already got a good Investigate, and we don't need any more clues. So, at least I don't think we do. So she'll take the Lab Assistant in her hand. And Mark draws Alice Luxley, an ally. That's a good one, because she can take sanity and health. But she costs 4, so she's expensive. All right, that is it. Now it is the Mythos phase. We place a Doom token. And now we draw cards. Now, in this case, Mark went first. And remember, he tried to he killed the Ghoul Minion and engaged the Flesh Eater to pull it away from Daisy. So he draws, and he gets Rotting Remains. Test 3 will. For each point you fail, take a horror. This is not good, because if he fails by 2 points or more, he's going to go insane temporarily. 3 will. He has nothing that can contribute to will. Daisy. Oh, Daisy. She can only contribute 1, but she gives him +2 with this. So he's doing a 5 versus 3. 5 versus 3. All right. Or I could take 1 damage and get +2 to your skill value for a skill test. Let's do it. I will take a damage. That gives me another +2. So he's at 7 versus 3. It's really the auto fail that I don't want. 7 versus 3. I got -1. 6 beats it. He does not have to deal with that. All right, Daisy goes next. Daisy draws Dissonant Voices. Put it into play in your threat area. You cannot play assets or events. At the end of the round, you can discard it. So she cannot play assets or events this turn. Assets are pretty much all the cards I have. Her Lab Assistant, her Arcane Enlightenment. Yeah. So, yeah. Or events. So, yeah, the other 2 are events. So I can't do anything this round other than move, and that's about it. I can investigate, but I've already investigated everything. So, that is the end of her turn. Play Dissonant Voices into your threat area. You cannot play asset. Okay, so all she can do is move. So what she can do is on her turn, you know what? I'm going to discard the Hypochondria for 2 actions. So she'll discard it for 2. I'll reset her 3 actions. And reset Mark's. She spends 2 to get rid of it. And she'll spend her third and final to move to the hallway. And she is done. Oh, that broke. I wonder how that happened. There we go. All right. So she is in the hallway and she is done. At the end of the round, I can discard that. Okay, so she cannot play these. Wow. Mark needs to deal with the Flesh Eater, and he's got 3 actions to do it. He will spend a bullet, and he has nothing to help him fight. So it's 5 versus 4. But if he hits it, it's going to do 2 damage and it'll kill it. 5 versus 4. He got his bonus. He also gets to add +2 because he's taken 2 damage, so he easily kills the Flesh Eater. The Flesh Eater does not go back into the discard. It is a victory, so it comes over here as a victory, and that is excellent. So Mark spent his first action fighting it. He will spend his second action to move to the hallway. Now they are all here. This says, when the round ends, investigators in the hallway may, as a group, spend the requisite number. So the round isn't over yet until I, at the end of the round, which is the upkeep phase. After upkeep phase, I can spend it. So he's still got 2 actions. So let's go ahead and spend 4 to get out Alice Lexley, an ally, and that is his third and final action. That means the round is over, or the investigator phase. There is no enemy phase. There's no enemies. Upkeep, flip them over. They each get a resource. She draws 2 cards, Ward of Protection and Flashlight. She does not need the flashlight. The ward is very useful. She has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cards in her hand, so she's good. Mark draws Guts, which give him +2 will. Okay, so that's pretty good. His will seems to be where he's hurting. And that is the end of the upkeep phase. It's the end of the round. So I can spend 6, which I keep 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I don't know if those 2 will help me, but I get to keep them because maybe something else in the later game needs clues. And I get to read this. Using the barrel from the attic, you carry ice and snow from the cellar and hurl it at the barrier. My apologies. The camera cut off for some odd reason. I think the memory card got full. I was reading this piece about the barrier. The barrier comes down. It says, using the barrel from the attic, you carry ice and snow from the cellar and hurl it at the barrier. The barrier sparks and shudders as it consumes the ice, then hisses and fades out of existence. The barrier blocking passage into the parlor has vanished. Reveal it. I revealed it. Put the set-aside Lita Chantler into play in the parlor. She's here. And then set the set-aside Ghoul Priest in the hallway. So the Ghoul Priest is here. So now we're in the end game here. All right, so let me just let you know. This went away when after the upkeep phase at the end of the round. So this went away. So she's no longer has the dissonant voices. Lita Chantler is an interesting card. It says, while you control her, each investigator at your location gains 1 fight, +1 fight, and when the investigator at your location successfully attacks a monster, the investigator deals +1 damage. So she's a great card to have. The Ghoul Priest has 5 health per player, so a total of 10, 4 fight, and when he hits you, he does 2 damage and 2 mental. He always targets the highest fight, which in this case is going to be Mark. And he's got Hunter and Retaliate. And what Retaliate is if I attack him and I miss, meaning I fail the skill, he immediately attacks. So you don't want to miss. All right. So that was revealing the what do you call it? The clues. And so now, now that Mark came down, it was the end of the round. We did the clues. So now it's the Mythos phase. So we add a 4th one here. Okay. And Mark went second, if I remember right. Daisy went first because she investigated and she left. So Mark just went to come down so they could spin the clues. So Daisy draws Rotting Remains. Test 3 will. Her will is 3. She's got 4, 5. She can contribute this 4, 5. Actually, hold on. She got another one of those. She could use Ward of Protection to just ignore it, which is what I'm going to do. I don't even have to test it. I'll pay 1 to fast play Ward of Protection, and she ignores it. All right, perfect. Mark draws an Icy Ghoul. So not only do we have the Ghoul Priest, but we have an Icy Ghoul at my spot. All right, that is the end of the Mythos phase. It is now time for the investigator. Now, the Ghoul is not attached to anybody. He will, if he moves, on his turn he would engage. But right now he's just in the hallway. So Daisy could go first and move to the parlor. But really what we're supposed to do is defeat the Ghoul Priest, because this says, "What have you done? The woman with the torch stands in your parlor, a glimmer of hatred in her eyes. What have you done to my barrier?" she screams. Before you can answer, a ghastly wail sounds behind you, and a creature wearing robes and a deer skull mask tears through the wall. If the Ghoul Priest is defeated, advance. So you gotta beat him. But the problem is, I got this guy, the Icy Ghoul, breathing down my neck, and he's engaged with Mark. So, oh no, he spawns in the cellar. So he's going to have to move. Okay, so let me put the cellar back in play. So he'll move from here on his turn, he'll move to the hallway, and then from the hallway. So I could pull the Ghoul Priest into the parlor and make him follow me with one move action and then attack him twice. I'll be able to attack twice, which means if both of them are successful, I'll do 4 damage out of 10. That's not much. Actually, Lita will give him the bonus. But it says, when you control Lita, while you control her, I think that is an action you have to take her as an asset. I believe that's how that works. So let's do this. I will have Daisy go first. She will move for 1 action. Let me reset her actions and reset his. Alright, so she moves, and the Ghoul Priest will only follow Mark. The prey is the highest fight. Alright, so she moves. So she will, as her second action, she will acquire Lita as an ally. And it says, while you control her, you get +1 fight. When an investigator at your location attacks a monster, the investigator deals +1 damage. So Mark won't get the +1 fight. Each investigator at your location. Oh yeah, he will get the +1 fight. Alright, so she moved. What else can she do? To prepare for this fight, she's only got 1 more action. I'm going to play Laboratory Assistant for 2. The reason being is it's an ally, so it can take damage. But it says after she enters play, you draw 2 cards. So let's do that. 1, Tooth of Esli. After you succeed at a bit of resolving, exhausted. Okay, that's not good. An Old Book of Lore. Exhaust it, choose an investigator dictation. Investigator search up the cards, draws it, shovels the remaining cards. Okay, that might be good for. Alright, so she moved. She played Laboratory Assistant. She's got 1 more action. She could play. Oh, no, she can't. She's only got 2 resources and it costs 3. Urgh. Okay. She may have to play that later. I'm going to go ahead and play Emergency Cash to gain 3 resources. She might need those. And her turn is done. She has no tomes, so she gets no bonus action. She's done. So we go to Mark. Mark will move here, which means the Ghoul Priest will move. I think the Ghoul Priest engages on my turn unless I choose to engage. But I'll tell you what, I moved. I'll engage. And I'll shoot. Alright, so let's do that. So I'll use the gun, a bullet. I'm going to get +1 damage. But I'm going to play the home front. Because if the attack is successful, I can take 1 damage off of him and put it on the attacked enemy. So we're attacking the Ghoul Priest, who has a fight of 4. Mark has a fight of 5. He's adding 4 for 9. And I shouldn't even. The bullet's going to give +1 damage, so I should use that. All right, so 5, 4, 9, 10. No, 9, and I get +1 damage. So 9 versus 4. So basically, I just don't want the auto fail. 9 versus 4, and I got the skull, which is -X the number of ghouls at your location. Well, the Ghoul Priest does count as a ghoul, so that's -1. So he still wins. And he does 2 damage to the Ghoul Priest. So 2 out of 10. And that is his 3rd and final turn. Okay. Now, enemy phase. The Icy Ghoul will move here. The Ghoul Priest, who is engaged with Mark, will attack. He does 2 heart and 2 sanity. I can give that to Alice Luxley. She will take that, and she is done. So that is the end of the enemy phase. Upkeep phase, I didn't flip them down, but they're flipped up. They each get a resource. They each draw a card. Daisy draws 2. She got Perception and Dr. Milan Christopher, which neither one of these are going to help me. She's already got an ally, so this one will not help me, and I'll put this one in my hand. Mark draws Knife. Well, that might help. It is now the Mythos phase. We put a Doom on. 5 out of 7. Who went first? Daisy went first. She draws Ancient Evils. Place 1 Doom on the current agenda. 6. Mark draws Ancient Evils. Place a Doom on the current agenda, and that triggers it. 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So let's read it. A feral beast, roughly humanoid with a canine cast and hooves for feet, tears through the ground in front of you. Below the floor, you can see vast tunnels beneath your house. Fiendish howling echoes from deep within the underground. Fiendish howling echoes from deep within the underground caverns. Shuffle the encounter discard pile into the encounter deck. Discard cards from the top until a ghoul enemy is discarded. The lead investigator draws that enemy. Ooh, that's not good. That's poor Daisy. All right, so you take these, you shuffle them back into the encounter deck, and then I keep drawing cards until I get a ghoul, and that will go with Daisy. She's my lead investigator. That's bad. Now, the one good news is the Icy Ghoul's already out. He's pretty tough, and I already killed the other ghoul, who was pretty tough. So I'm hoping maybe I just get a simple ghoul minion, and we shall see. So let's shuffle it a couple more times, and then let's draw. So until we get a ghoul. Swarm of Rats does not count as a ghoul. No. No. Ghoul minion. That is engaged with Daisy. All right. Then let's read Agenda 3. They're getting out. You hear a crazed howl outside, and suddenly all the creatures turn their attention to that sound. They rush to escape the house, breaking down doors and clawing at everything in their way. Forced. At the end of the enemy phase, each unengaged ghoul moves 1 location towards the parlor. Well, that's where I am. Forced. At the end of the round, place 1 Doom on this agenda for each ghoul in the hallway or parlor. All right, and it's got a rank of 10. So when we hit 10, we lose the game. Or we lose this scenario. The game doesn't really end. There's a scenario 2. It's just you'll come into it weaker and probably with some disadvantages. All right, so at the end of the enemy phase. So I got to remember, at the end of the enemy phase, we got to do that. All right, so she has a ghoul minion, Ghoul Priest. That is the... Is that the end of... No, Mark did not draw a card. Dissonant Voices. Put it into play. You cannot play assets or events. Okay, so he's got this. So he can't play any cards, which means he can't play Knife and he can't play Guts. All right, it is now my turn. Let's load back up with turns. Poor Daisy is going to have to fight, and she's not a very good fighter. Okay, let's go with... Now, if I evade the Icy Ghoul, it says at the end of the enemy phase, each unengaged. Now, she's currently engaged. To unengage, you do an agility test. Moves 1 location towards the parlor. Now, that's already in the at the end of the enemy phase, each unengaged ghoul enemy moves. So it's just moving them closer. All right. So we're just basically going to be over 1. We got to kill these and kill the Ghoul Priest. All right. So does Daisy want to go first? She really has nothing to help her fight-wise. Nothing. She has Mind Over Matter, which gives her +1 fight, 3 versus 2. It's worth a shot. Oh, it says up until the end of the round, you may use your book in place of your... let's do that. All right. So for her first action... how did I put Research at Librarian in here? Laboratory Assistant. This shouldn't be in here. Sorry. All right. So I'm gonna pay 1 to play Mind Over Matter. I can use my book instead of fight until the end of the round. So she's got 2 rounds using her book. Let's do that. And I can contribute Perception to make sure she really gets it. So her perception is yeah, 5, 6, 7 versus 2. 7 versus 2. That's not bad. I'll play it, fast play it. 7 versus 2 to do 1 damage. 7 versus 2. Auto fail. Oh. Okay, but until the end of the round, I can still do it. So she's still got one more chance. 5 versus 2. 5 minus 2 is 3, which beats it, and it does take 1 damage. It's still got 1 health left. That was her. She did that second action, and then that was her third and final action. All right, so she is done. She is done. She's going to take damage from the ghoul minion. Okay. Mark. Mark could engage the ghoul minion, but that would get him a. He would take 1 and 1, and oh, he's gonna die. When he takes damage, he's gonna be insane. So he's out of the game. Oh, that's not good. Oh, hold on. Lita Chantler was in the room. He should have an extra damage on him because of the 3, the +1. All right, so or the +1 damage. All right, so he's got 3 turns. Let's see how this works. He can do +1 damage, +1. So he's going to do 2 damage for each hit. 2, 4, 6. He could do this. He's got to win all 3 fights. And he can't play any cards because he's got dissonant voices. So, for the first action, he will shoot a bullet. He gets +1 damage. His fight is 5 versus 4. And she has nothing to contribute. 5 versus 4. Actually, I'll take a direct damage to give me +2. So that's 7 versus 4. I did it. So that does 1, 2, 3 damage. So he's at 3. He's at 6. 6 out of 10. All right. We'll go again. I'm going to use my last bullet, which gives me +1 damage. I'm going to discard the Colt because I don't have any extra ammo, so might as well just get rid of it. So I'll take another damage. If Mark has 5 or more damage, flip him. Flip Sophie. Okay, so I won't do that. But I will still get the +2 to my skill, which will bump him from 5, 7, 8. 5, 6 +2 is 8. 8 versus 4. I like those odds. That'll take him up to 9 damage, and I'll have 1 more attack. But if I don't do this, I'm only at 6 versus 4, and I don't like those odds. I don't have a choice. I can't use this. I'm going to do 6. I'm going to use the bullet and Lita Chantler, which is +2, so that takes me up to 7 versus 4. 7 versus 4. 7 + 1 is 8. I put another 3 damage on him. 3, 6, 9. He's got 1, and that was turn number 2. He's got 1 health left on him. And I've got 1 more action. If I shoot this turn, I only get a 6 versus 4. To guarantee, there's only a -2 in here. There's not a -3, but there is an auto fail. So I'm going to go ahead and do it. Third action, I'm going to fight. I am at 5, 6. 6 versus 4. And it does +1 damage. The skull is the number of ghouls at your location. There's only 1, so 5 versus 4 beats him. He takes the final damage, and he dies. All right. Now, this says, if the ghoul is defeated, flip this over. When the robed creature falls, the fiendish swarm burrows back into the ground, and the chaos of the house quiets. But the stranger in your parlor doesn't seem relieved. You broke my seal that was set to trap the ghouls within. She raises her torch. Now we must take more direct measures and burn this hell pit to the ground. The lead investigator must decide. Choose one. It was never much of a home. Burn it down. This hell pit is my home. No way are we burning it. Let's burn it. I don't want these ghouls coming back. So we'll burn it, which is resolution number 1. So the ghouls all flee, which is excellent. I don't get the victory for the Icy Ghoul, but that's okay. Dissonant Voices will go away. Resolution number 1. So it says, if resolution 1, go to page 12. You nod and allow the red-haired woman to set the walls and floor of your house ablaze. The fire spreads quickly and you run out the front door to avoid being caught in the inferno. From the sidewalk, you watch as everything you own is consumed by the flames. Come with me, the woman says. You must be told of the threat that lurks below. Alone, we are surely doomed, but together we can stop it. In your campaign log, record that your house is burned. The lead investigator earns the lead enchantler card. Okay, well, she already had her. And may include it in their deck. It does not count towards the investigator's deck size. Excellent. The lead investigator suffers 1 mental trauma from watching their home burn. So she gets 1 mental trauma. And what that means is, on her next turn, instead of starting at 9 sanity, she'll start at 8. Each investigator earns victory equal to the value on the cards in the display, plus 2 bonus XP. All right, let's add it up. So we did the attic for 1. The Flesh Eater was 1, that's 2. The Cellar was 1, so that's 3. And I killed the Ghoul Priest, was worth 2. So 2, 3, 4, 5, plus the 2 bonus is 7 XP to everybody. So XP is 7 per investigator. Little symbol for investigator. I burned the house. House burned to the ground. I don't know if that matters, but burned to the ground. Maybe it'll come into play later. And I got lead enchantler. All right, so let me put that in there before I forget. So she gets the Daisy gets the lead enchantler card. Enchantler plus lead enchantler. All right. So that is the first scenario, called The Gathering, and we were successful. Mark got really, really low on his sanity, so it'll go back up to 5. Hers goes up to 8. His health will return to 9. Her health will return to 5. And the resources reset at the end of each turn, or each game. These clues, I guess, don't help me in any way, other than I just got that bonus XP. What I'll use is I'll take those 7 XP and look to see if I want to upgrade any of my cards, which I probably will want to do. Just haven't really thought about it yet. And that's it. All right, so I will be back in the next video with the second scenario, which is called the Midnight Masks. The third one is called the Devourer Below. So I'll be back in the next video with the Midnight Masks, and we'll see what Daisy and Mark, see how they do in the rest of this adventure. All right, that's all I got. This is Jim, the Tabletop Engineer. Thanks for joining me on this game of Arkham Horror, the card game, Night of the Zealot. I'll be back very soon with the next video. Until then, everybody, take care.
Check out the new RPG and Wargame newsletter. Each week, the Tabletop Engineer shares news, products, Kickstarters, and much more related to the gaming hobby. It's free to subscribe, so check out the link in the video description below to sign up.